So I was going through statistics today, and they said something like 49% of Americans cannot meet retirement goals because now everything's getting more and more expensive. So it looks like they cannot even meet their retirement goals. So they hope to keep on working, till they cannot work anymore. But then if there is a situation like COVID, when you want to even work in a lower level position, that position may not even be available. So that is one of the challenges that they were talking about. Yeah, so that's a good summary. Anybody else on what we discussed yesterday? We also discussed needing a civilizational transformation, building a new civilization. Like current civilization is based on Shishu Hatya, Go Hatya, Vanijyam, and Krutrima Sangha, means artificial Sangha. Whereas we want to change that to Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijyam. And it's not easy. Anything that I'm saying here, it will take a lot of effort. It's not going to be easy, but the solutions are getting less and less. And we also talked about some of the quotes from various individuals. So I added two quotes here. One is by His Holiness Navayogendra Swami. He said, "बड़े बड़े minister लोग हमारे मंदिर के सामने line में खड़े रहते हैं." Means big ministers stay in front of our temple in the line. So it's not like, you are something special. We have to all figure out how to solve this problem. And the other one is by His Holiness Indradumna Swami. He said, in the entire history of humanity, money has never made anybody happy. So Indradumna Maharaj used to come here 2003 to 2006 or 7. And the other one that I added today is also about Harulas Maharaj's statement. Very frequently says that practical devotional service is more important than simply listening to lectures. Means physically we have to work and do certain things. And then we also discussed preparing for the future. So we said how it is important to be intelligent, calm, and rational planning. We cannot just do seat of the pants approach, quickly doing some things. It has to be very methodical, and it has to be very systematic. That's what we also discussed. So who is this guest? Can you identify yourself? It says guest.
So it might be me. This is Ram. My name is there.
No, your name is there, but there is somebody called guest. So if you don't identify yourself, I'll put you in the...
Prabhu,
yeah.
Prabhu, I think I'm Umesh, so I'm not sure. It didn't ask me to put my name.
Oh, okay. Because I don't want somebody to come in and hijack the meeting, right? It's been happening with Zoom a lot.
Yeah.
No, it is still shows guest, Prabhuji.
Still guest is there. Still guest is there.
Still guest is there, even after Umesh is there. Okay, so we'll put the guest in the waiting room till they identify themselves.
Somebody from Goloka, Prabhu.
Yeah, if it's from Goloka, it's okay. But if it is somebody who wants to disrupt the meeting, then that's not a good thing. So I put them in the waiting room.
Yeah, I heard there are some security issues with Zoom, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
so
that's why I put them in the I put them in waiting room, because they added these security features now. You can also log the meeting, but with our team, right? People keep on coming even after the half-an-hour point, so I cannot lock it.
There's someone called iPhone also.
Who is on the iPhone?
There's someone, the name of the participant is iPhone. I'm not sure who that is.
So who is iPhone? Can you identify yourself?
Prabhu, in the participants list, against my name, it is showing Umesh's iPhone. So
yeah, that's fine. There is one more, just iPhone. Who is this?
Just iPhone. There's someone called just iPhone.
No, sir. No, Prabhu. I don't know who's this iPhone.
Okay. If you see strange things happening in the meeting, you will know that we are hijacked. But until then, we'll keep
So
going.
is there any way you can remove them, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, in a Purushottam group, they put a Nitai Priya. I cannot announce it. That's what it is. Maybe is it the same?
No, I put them in the waiting room.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to identify themselves. It is a challenge. Otherwise, we'll not get proper response. Yesterday, somebody called XYZ joined, so I removed them from the meeting. Okay, let's get started. We have 15 people. That's good enough, 16 people. So based on everything else that we talked about, retiring early is one of the suggestions that I'm making. And you can choose to think about it in a rational manner. You don't have to immediately jump onto it. Because if you don't retire also, right, the expenses are so high that it will just keep dragging you down and down and down. So better to do is simplification of our life rather than keep on increasing our needs. Like, you can live in one room. Like when I was doing engineering in Pune, my brother and I lived in a asbestos sheet small room, right? We rented a room there near the college. And we
Hare
lived
Krishna
there.
Prabhu.
You can live
Prabhu,
there, or you
Nitai-
can go to a very high-fi thing. It's a matter of how we simplify our life. So the
Hare Krishna
proposal
Prabhu.
here is retire early and chant Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Nitai Priya Mataji is trying to get in. I think she is logged in as guest.
Oh, she is logged in as guest. So
Yeah, she sent a message to Purushottam, so she cannot announce, and she has been moved to waiting room.
yeah,
Please get me back
I
in.
moved her to waiting room.
So ask her to unmute and confirm that she is logged in as guest.
Can you do that? Can you send a note to her?
Yeah, can you accept her and I can send a private message to her.
Okay, I have accepted whoever is there in the waiting room.
No, she is not shown, Prabhu.
Ask her to rejoin,
Yeah.
because I think it brute force removed her when I disabled the waiting room. Okay, let's do this. I mean, people can keep joining. So goal is to retire early and chant Hare Krishna. And what does early mean? We have to figure out. We have to define what that is really. So one of the emerging trend is agrihoods. Agrihoods these are nothing to do with devotees. These are people who don't want to live in cities. So there is one in Virginia, Willersford, spans 4,000 acres. There are many small villages. So they give that small village feel so that people can be in a cozy little environment. At the same time, if they want to talk to others, they can go outside the village and these other villages are there. So 300 acres is used to cultivate 150 varieties of vegetables, herbs, fruit, flowers, like that. This is from a list of agrihoods I took from the internet. The other one is called South Village. It's in Vermont. So they basically live on the land. So there are other movements that are happening right now where people live on the land because they want to come to mode of goodness. If you live in the city, mode of passion is predominant. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Rajo Ragatmikam Viddhi, Trishna Sangha Samudbhavaha. Trishna means you will be chasing after mirages if you are in the mode of passion. Always there is something, a new model of Tesla or this or that, something that will confuse your lifestyle. Here is a journey of a devotee in ISKCON. So you come as a new devotee, you do things like BYS and Bhakti Gita, you chant your rounds, you get initiated, you may give some donations, you do some seva, you teach others chanting and Bhagavad Gita. So when you do all this, you come to a point where you debate what to do with life on the lower right hand. Here, debate to do with life. At that point, you have two options. You can either move to the farm or you can travel and preach, and you can take sannyasa. So my experience is none of us are really capable of sannyasa, right? Can you just visualize yourself being like one of these 4 gentlemen here, right? Indradunda Maharaj or Gopal Krishna Maharaj or Bhakti Vikas Maharaj or Radhanath Maharaj? Can you be like one of them? If not, then what is your other option, right? I mean, if you are, all kudos to you. I'll come and pay you Dandavat Pranams once you take sannyas. But if you cannot, then what is the other option? If you sit here in Sammamish and say, the IT industry deems that you are no longer eligible to learn new languages, programming languages, so you are redundant. And in Microsoft, I've seen like bade people, lot of big people have also been retired forcefully. Like Lisa Brummel, HR corporate vice president, gone. So many big people. Rao Remala gone. Somasekhar gone. They are all like vice president level people, right? Somasekhar was CVP. They're all gone. So what will you do? At that point, nobody wants you in the industry. So if you cannot take sannyas and travel and preach, the other option is you have to move to a farm, showcase farm living to others, train other people in a farm-based school, like you can teach the next generation. Like I know one GM in Microsoft, he retired and became a high school math teacher. So he went from making $280,000 a year to making $50,000 a year. But money was not his reason, right? He said, I'm sick and tired of corporate. I want to do something for the society. So he became a math teacher. So then you can do Varnashrama College, training the people throughout their lifetime. Varnashrama College is more than just teaching Bhagavad Gita. It's like a lot more. Then at some point you get liberation. I mean, you can get liberated through becoming a sannyasi and preaching, or you can live in the mode of goodness in a natural setting and pretty much get liberated from that. I mean, our goal is liberation, right? Otherwise, why are we having this conference call? We could watch TV at this time. There's probably some sitcom going on right now, Corona-based sitcom. So why are we here? Because we want something higher. We want some higher taste. Okay. So let's shift the paradigm to Krishna consciousness. So we saw that how modern life sucks, but it can be adjusted also. How to change all these categories to just a few categories. So one of the key tenets, key principles of Krishna consciousness is reducing physical sex. So as devotee progressively reduce physical sex, the subtle sex arises. Like a lot of visiting brahmacharis have also talked about this at various times. It is called puja, labh, and pratishtha. Profit, adoration, and distinction. So we always have this tendency to make a profit in our life. So profit in stock market, profit in house, profit in investments, gold, this, that. Like in the first session also people were saying, hey, why can't we buy stocks? Hey, why can't we have gold? Why can't we have this, that? Right? Because that's our natural tendency. We are conditioned souls. We always look for profit. But profit is the quest for profit is actually a negative qualification in Krishna consciousness. Because we should think of profit of the holy name, profit of going and meeting Krishna face to face. So we should think of a different kind of profit, right? And of course, we are conditioned souls, so we have that mentality in us. Second is adoration. Am I being praised? Do I have a fan following? Do people like my classes? So even after becoming initiated and you become a teacher, all of a sudden the focus shifts on, am I a good teacher? Am I making an impact? People are liking me or not, right? So we get into from more gross material type of adoration, like I bought a new Tesla, people praise me, to more like, I'm dressed nicely, I'm in mode of goodness, now you praise me. Ultimately, it is being praised only, adoration. You should go and, look at the dictionary, the meaning of adoration. Means people should adore you. Third thing is distinction. Is my house bigger than others? Like Devnath Hari bought a big home recently. So is your home biggest, Devnath, compared to all the other devotees?
No, Prabhu, it's one of the smallest home, Prabhu.
Then why did you move? You could have just stayed in your old home. Your old home was pretty good.
Prabhu, we moved because of our older son. He wanted to go to Interlake because most of his friends moved here.
Okay. Anyway, so but usually that thing is there in back of our minds. Is my house the biggest house? Is my title? I'm a senior director. I'm a GM. I'm a director, like that, right? And then other things. Even in devotional life, are many people coming to my device class compared to other teachers, right? So am I the most popular device teacher around? It happens like that. Unfortunately, our tendency creeps into the spiritual life also. So my statement to you is, don't pad it. Pad means profit, adoration, and distinction. So if you are padding it, means you are katham. So you think like you are a devotee, but actually you are borderline. So you are like borderline between karmi and a devotee. So don't pad it. And why am I saying this? Because some of the things that I'm going to say later in the class or in this session, collaborative session, is you will not get a profit by doing those things that I'm suggesting, but you'll have the ultimate profit of reaching Krishna. So there is a devotee maturity model. Initial devotees, they go by emotions. Arey Maharaj, class was so good. Or rasa, they show emotions, physical emotions. They're so happy dancing in kirtan. They go by stories. But their intelligence and tattva, like the Krishna tattva, they don't focus on that much. Or concepts, they don't focus on that. They go by emotion initially. Whereas advanced devotees, they do exactly the opposite. They control their emotions. They go beyond rasa and they talk about tattva. Who is Krishna? What does he want from me? How can I really please him? Instead of most of us dance in the kirtan because it pleases us, because we get ecstasy by dancing, right? Chanting and dancing, we're forgetting all our miseries, which is one of the things, right? It is called Kleshagni and Shubhada according to Nectar of Devotion. Kleshagni means all the miseries, the Agni of all the miseries goes away, and Shubhada, all auspiciousness comes in, which is good. But initially when we do dance in kirtan, we are doing it for ourselves. We are not doing it for Krishna. So we should say, Krishna, even if my legs ache, I will dance for you, right? So the focus should shift. Instead of focus being me, we should focus on Krishna. So that is the maturity that we need to attain as we move forward in life. So how much you need for retirement? I went to some calculator online. They said you need somewhere between 1.5 and $2 million. Actually, you don't need that, because we don't play golf. We don't drink alcohol, meat, fish, eggs, or hanky-panky like Jeffrey Epstein, or gambling. Our goal is to live simply. So the online calculator is for nonsense people, right? Because they need to, like recently one billionaire was caught, even in the COVID lockdown, he boarded his private jet with some young girls. So you don't need much imagination what he's doing on that plane, right? So we are not into all that. I mean, hopefully we are not into all that. And strongly, we should not be into all that. So you don't need that much money. Who needs 1.5 million to 2 million? It takes a lot of effort to spend that much money actually. So if you save for your kids' tuition, you can retire. Done. How? Cutting ties with meaningless karmi relatives and friends who talk nonsense all the time anyways. You can produce your own handicrafts and sell them. So Srila Prabhupada never said if you go to a farm, you stop working. He's saying you work, but not in the demonic factory civilization. Factory civilization means assembly line. Tuck, 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 tuck. Products are coming continuously. When they're sold on Amazon for like $35, $40. See, most of the products that you buy for $35, if you do them properly with your hand, they should cost $100, right? Because of this mass production and low quality, they're just made. Sometimes the handle breaks, sometimes something breaks, the wire breaks, because they're mass produced, right? They are not focused on quality. So you can still produce, but not in the demoniac factory type environment. You can grow your own food. You grow your own food because we have to live. Then you chant Hare Krishna. Krishna helps in mysterious ways, mysterious ways. So many devotees have told me. Devotees in Miami who quit working a long time ago are still thriving, some or the other. I used to give ride to one of the Prabhuji from temple to his home. He doesn't have a car or anything. But see, I was there to give him a ride when I was there. And after I left, somebody else will be there. So it's not like end of the world. It's Krishna actually helps in very mysterious ways if you surrender to him. And then we should teach kids self-reliance. Like my father sent me to America, just paying airfare, that's it. I got here, I got my part-time job 26 years ago, and I'm still self-reliant, right? So if you give them more facilities, they'll become idiots. If you give them less facilities, they'll become strong. So training kids is also an art. Don't give them too much. Sometimes I am also guilty of giving my kids too much. But yeah, if you give them less, they'll become stronger. And yesterday Gupta asked, what about daughter's marriage? We are doing so many marriages in temple. We charge $4,500, $500 for pujari, rest for hall and prashadam downstairs. Done. You can feed 200, 250 people for $5,000. Job done. There is no dowry here. So the boy should be happy to get a Krishna conscious wife. So you should not worry about getting your daughters married. It will be naturally taken care of. And with a much better fellow. Because if you go marry your daughter to some other fellow, that fellow may be drunkard, he may beat his wife every day after drinking some alcohol, right? So these are things that you have to consider. We have to consider. So our retirement is very different. No golf. At the same time, not in a very big palatial building. At the same time, not being in a small 10 by 10 home in downtown. Again, dealing with all the hippies and drunkards and drug addicts, right? Our simple living is away from cities, like small homes, like a yurt, as they say, Tibetan yurt, or a small, rectangular home. Simple, minimal living. That is how our retirement should look like. So Srila Prabhupada said this about farm communities. On these farms, we can demonstrate the full Varnashrama. So the whole world becomes successful, and the whole world becomes enveloped in Krishna consciousness. Harisauri Prabhu actually came to Seattle at one point. Very impressive British gentleman. Next, he said, these are our solid programs. They can change the whole world. The whole foundation of animal civilization can be destroyed. If I have hope for still living, I want to organize the farms, make it perfect. Simple living and high thinking. So why back to farms? So Devnath, can you read this slide? Are you there, Devnath Hari? Yeah, you're there.
Yes, Prabhu, sorry, could not find the mute button. Why back to farms? Srila Prabhupada spoke about revamping society so that people in general would be able to live a simpler, God-centric life. He consistently said things like, take some land from the government, you produce your food. Where is the difficulty? Keep some cows, you get milk. And everyone should possess some land for growing food grains and some cows to take milk. And if one man has got a cow and 4 acres of land, he has no economic problem. Let the people be divided with 4 acres of land and a cow. There will be no economic question. All the factories will be closed. But we are not going to develop a competitive farming enterprise for making money. The basic principle is to become independent of artificial city life. Gandhi had this idea. The one defect was that there was no Krishna in the center. So the same idea of village organization, but keeping Krishna in the center, should be introduced on our farm projects.
Yeah. So can you explain to your classmates what that means?
So what Srila Prabhupada, as I'm trying to understand here, what Srila Prabhupada is saying is, we should be able to live a simpler God-centric life if we go back to our roots, our basics of, back to the farms and keeping Krishna in the center.
Yeah. So Gandhi had the idea, but there was no Krishna in center. And second most important point is, we are not doing farming to make money. Because if you have to make money, then 4 acres, 5 acres is not sufficient. You need to have 150 acres. You need to have a big tractor. Only then you can make money. Otherwise, you'll just basically, you'll not produce more than what you can eat. You'll just produce bare minimum. That's it, right? So these two gentlemen here at the bottom are from the Gita Nagari farm. Gita Nagari farm where Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, African American Maharaj, used to be there. He is like a very impressive personality. He went to Harvard University and then he met Prabhupada and he gave up everything and he became big time preacher. So like that. And then I have this little YouTube video also, which shows about how some of the Hare Krishna devotees can train you in farming techniques. Like there is Tapanuga Prabhu or somebody like that. Let's see his video just for a minute and then come back.
Hare Krishna. My name is Tapa Punjdas. We are in the Small Farm Training Center, field number 1. This is an instructional video about how to grow lettuce, how to properly process lettuce to make it marketable, and then of course how to market it. And as part of our series on food independence and Brahminical culture. It's April 6th. We are in southern Mississippi in New Taliban community. Thanks for taking the journey with us. Bed preparation is critical to getting good germination, good retention of water, easy tillage. So you see here raking these beds out nice and flat. And I'm putting in snap line, which is a mason line that I stretch from one end to the other, which marks exactly where I'm going to put those seeds in. So I keep everything absolutely parallel or seed it so it can't be moved around, and then I knuckle it in, so to speak, so that there's a way to retain water. After seed, of course, the plants come up, cultivation.
Okay, let's get back to our slides again. So there are people who can train us. So Varnashrama Dharma needs to be established as a part of the second phase of our movement. So Srila Prabhupada said he had two-part process. First is establish Brahmanas, because there are no Brahmanas left in the world. So he made people chant 16 rounds, give up eating meat, and then establish Brahminical culture so that they can, go worship the deities. And then the second part is establishing the farm-based living. So that's what we are into phase 2 right now. Phase 1 is done. I mean, done means we have a few Brahmanas, not too many, but that's sufficient. Every city in the world has at least 1 or 2 Brahmanas, right? Seattle has more than 2. Even small places like Sacramento, maybe 5 or 6 Brahmanas are there. New Orleans, about 5 or 6 Brahmanas are there. So every city has that seed. Now we have to go to phase 2. Right? Here is a quote from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Just as an army lands in a country and fight begins for capturing the territory, we must allow Krishna to land into our hearts. Upon entering, he will challenge all materialistic intellections. Intellections means intellectual thinking. The entire area is mine, he'll say. The enemy will surely withdraw and Krishna will completely capture our heart. So, Mama Mana Mandire Rahanishidin Krishna Murari. Krishna Murari, like Harulas Maharaj sings. That's one of his favorite songs. So we have to allow Krishna to capture our hearts. This is from the book Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. Okay, so Vineet, can you read this slide? Vineet, are you there? Okay, Ram Mukund, read that.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes,
Clearly?
yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, Varnashrama Dharma needs to be established. There is some pop-up here. As a part of second phase of our movement. Shivarama Swami did his best for farm at Hungary, and there they are working towards living as simply as possible and plowing the earth with bulls, storing their own grains, etc. In India, Bhakti Raghav Swami and Bhakti Vikas Swami have been propagating that Grihasthas return to villages and adopt a cow protection and a simple agrarian lifestyle with village industries to produce cloth, oils, food grains, fruits, etc. Gujarat, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. Eco Village Govardhana, largest projects thus so far.
So we are not alone and we are not the first. Already a lot of people are doing a lot of things, right, in ISKCON. So with that said, we have plans like this, Enam Claw. I just went into Zero, took a screenshot and put it here. 5 acres for 244K, 12.5 acres for 290K. Land is available, but it's very difficult. It's not easy. So, we'll get into some of the challenges of how to create a community. But before that, in ISKCON, there are 5 farm models. So I call it farm maturity model along the lines of, CMMI. Everybody heard of CMMI?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. What does it stand for?
Capability maturity model.
Yeah. So similarly, sometimes a congregation of devotees live near a temple but have outside employment, like all of us, right? That is at the maturity level 1. Because once in a while we go and say hi to the cows and come back. So it's like a very low level of maturity. Sometimes priests are being maintained by temple and they say, "Arey baba, tum jaake dekho usko." Like Garuda, right? By the way, Garuda Prabhu has the highest standard of living amongst all of us. He lives on a 10-acre farm in a very nice house. He takes care of the cows and is very dear to Krishna. And we are all struggling, seeing all these nonsense karmis from morning till evening, right? So then third level maturity is householders are on properties, whether are rural or urban, living as non-interdependent neighbors. So interdependence is the key, right? So you can still be in your own Brahmanda, in your, like being still on the farm, but that doesn't help. You could have neighboring farms and then talk to each other once a week. No, that is not interdependence, right? So whether or not you keep outside employment, if you're not interdependent, that is also low level of maturity. Then other level is devotees developing a cooperative and they are co-housing separate from life and land with the cows. So means like they have their own house, but once in a while they go and till their own land and they take care of their own cows. So that is called urban cooperative. That is 4th level of maturity. But the 5th level or the ultimate CMMI 5 or FMM 5 is DVAD. Anybody know what DVAD stands for?
Devi Varnashram Dharma.
Excellent, excellent. Who said that?
This is Radhanand Das Prabhu.
Hari Bol, Radhanand Prabhu ki jai. Yeah. So Daivi Varnashrama community is at the FMM level 5, which means you design the community. You don't like randomly say, okay, I bought some farm. I'll just go say hi to the cows once in a while and Garuda will take care of the cows. No, you intentionally design that farm. And then spiritual communism, not to be confused with material communism where everybody is artificially equal. Spiritual communism doesn't mean everybody is artificially equal. Equality of the soul, but different people have different propensities. So we have to apply their propensities in service of Krishna. So you need a strong Brahmana at the head to guide the other Brahmanas, the Vaishyas, the Shudras, and the Kshatriyas on the farm community. Kshatriyas will come, rat. Hey, what happened to this? Why are you spending so much on this? This. I found a better deal there. Like that, right? They want command and control. So this is a 5-star model. So we need to focus on Daivi Varnashram. So characteristics, dharmic social intercourse and division of labor, like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Social intercourse means they are working with across these Varna lines. Self-sufficiency. Wealth is generated, but you are not selfish. Oh, this is not my money. This is community's money. There is no competition between community members. Income is not obtained through outside employment. Rather, goods and services may be offered external to community because we still need some money, right? Such as paying the property tax. For example, Harilas Maharaj's farm, he has to pay about 7,000 in property taxes every year. So he has to generate some revenue, right? It's not free. Because he's in Redmond, and Redmond is a big city, and his land is worth $1 million. So, which is not typical of farms, right? Farms typically are outside of towns and everything is cheap there. So your property tax will also be cheap. Then Bhakti Yoga is maturing gradually into Ananya Bhakti. So we need Ananya Bhakti, means Anya Vilashra Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhanavritam, Anukuvalena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So right now our Bhakti is Komal Bhakti or Mishra Bhakti, right? Karma Mishra Bhakti primarily. So it will not transform if you continue to have your life in Sammamish or Redmond or Bothell or Bellevue. That's guaranteed. I've seen you all for the last 10 years. You have made some progress, but not tremendous progress. And people say about that, about me also, like seniors, they say, Radhika Gopinath, you made some progress, but long way to go, right? So unless we make a conscious shift, we're going to be in soup very soon. Then sustainability, right? Education and training of community members, facilitating ongoing following and passing down of these previous 3 principles. So the division of labor, Varnashrama, self-sufficiency, wealth is common, and Bhakti Yoga maturing, they have to be passed on to next generation. And then culture of Bhakti as outlined in Nectar of Devotion. So this is the definition of a DVAD or Daivi Varnashrama. Why is it important? Prabhupada says. Okay, Radhanand, can you please read?
Yes, Rohit. Importance of Devi Varnashram Dharma. Quotation from Srila Prabhupada, August 1st, 1975 says, so if you show practical example that how you are living simple life and how you are advanced in Krishna consciousness, then people will learn from you. Here's another quote. Although much of modernity is based on people thinking that they are units unto themselves, community means seeing our interdependence. We each have an integral role in the function and success of a society. This is Bhaktivedanta Swami on his seminar on leadership for an age of higher consciousness, part 2. Here's another quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 126 purport. The root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. There is nothing sustainable in this material world, but Srila Prabhupada felt that a simpler, more natural Krishna conscious life centered on the land and cows would give devotees a more stable lifestyle, which would be conducive to their lifelong practice of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, excellent. So more stable lifestyle is what we are after. Right now we are in ups and downs. When we have up, like last 10 years has been unusual in American history. Stock market up, house prices up. But I've been here 25 years, right? I've seen 4 recessions in America. It's not always like this. So for some of you who are just coming to America like Vinith, it may be something very great, like this continuous boom. But it's not the case. You know, there are ups and downs in any society. So instead of going up, like on the Ferris wheel, and then coming down, it's better to have a stable lifestyle, which is afforded by this whole Varnashrama Dharma. So that is what we are after. So Corona is just an excuse. Even without Corona, we should be pursuing this, right? So let's see who can read this. Ajita Krishna Prabhu, can you read this? Ajita Krishna Prabhu, did you hear me? Or Jaypal, can you read this?
Okay, Prabhuji.
No, actually, I think Ajita Krishna came off mute now.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I was trying to unmute myself.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Characteristics for Devi Varnashram Dharma. Each community member being first and foremost a Vaishnav, thus a truly classless society. each Vaishnav engaged in their natural duties according to Varna and Ashram for the sake of serving Krishna, Guru, and devotees. Bhakti Yoga culminating in Ananya Bhakti. Krishna as the center and goal, thus recognized as a transcendental system. Relationships interconnected through Krishna, most conducive to cultivating detachment from the results of one's activities, freedom from covetousness, freedom from envy, purification from anarthas in general. Most sustainable system as Krishna is the center. Operates according to the tenets of spiritual communism. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
So everybody recognize that quote? Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kinchana jagatam jagat tena tiktena bunjita mam grida swakashit swadanam. Yeah. So thank you, Prabhu. So the key point is relationships interconnected through Krishna. For example, Ajit Krishna Prabhu is from Dubai and I am from Pune. Now, how are we talking on this call? Because we are connected through Krishna. Otherwise, I don't know him, right? I know him as a devotee of Krishna, like that. So everything surrounds and rotates around Krishna. That is the characteristic of Devi Varnashram. And there are other characteristics also. So we are building, right? We said in class one, the problems of modern society. Corona-driven Armageddon. People are losing jobs. 17 million people lost jobs. Today's news was 8.7% negative growth in retail. Means people are buying less stuff now. And that translates into unemployment. Like our global CEO today, he arranged for an emergency meeting for all hands online. So I went there. He said that he's in touch with all the CEOs, and CEOs are saying, I have to let go people. I have to let go people. Everybody's telling him the same thing. And he is giving us a little warning that, Are Baba, tumhare saath bhi abhi hone wala hai. He didn't say it directly, but he was implying it. So what can we do, right? I mean, this is like an unprecedented battle that's going on. But it comes from time to time. This is the nature of material world. Durga Devi, the way she operates, first she gives you a lot of goodies. Candy bars, biscuits, cookies, and suddenly she'll take them away all from you. That's her job, right? To give you so much misery that you get sick and tired of this material world from time to time. Moving on. So again, this is more of a summary from the previous slide. Interdependent relationships is the key thing. Personal connection. Needs of everyone looked after. For example, otherwise what will happen is only the rich guys who have, like Devnath Hari, who have senior directors at Microsoft, they will buy large tracts of land. And somebody who cannot afford will be left out of this. No, this will be a collective project. Like everybody pitches in a little bit and there'll be a big community. So needs of everyone is looked after by this community. When I went to Croatia, I asked them, how do you run your community? He says, if you have money, give money. If you don't have money, you give your labor. But nobody is excluded from our community. So what happened was this community was on the border of Bosnia and Croatia. So during the breakup of Czechoslovakia, which broke down into 4 or 5 countries, like Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Slovenia, and Czech Republic. So Czechoslovakia broke down into these 5 different countries. So there was a lot of killing going on at the borders. So where we had this farm community, that was at the junction of Bosnia and Croatia. So there they said, everybody is welcome, as long as you are willing to cooperate with the community. So that is the key. So Bhakti Raghu Maharaj gave this guidance. So let's see who wants to volunteer to read this. Jyotsna Mataji, can you read this? Okay, she is not coming off mute. So Nag Prabhu, can you read it?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead.
H.H. Bhakti Raghava Maharaj guidance. Such Varnashrama communities by nature will be independent, self-sufficient, self-sustainable and self-governed, as envisioned by Srila Prabhupada and as demonstrated in the Vedic culture. Our ISKCON society needs to recognize and uphold that rural communities as they approach the traditional Vedic village model more and more are intended to be primarily established and organized by Gahastha devotees, and this independent from ISKCONs or any other spiritual organizations direct level governance.
Legal governance.
By legal governance. By definition, a Varnashrama community or a village is a localized entity designed to be legally governed by its own members. This means that any group of devotees should be encouraged to set up such a rural community, following the general guidelines given by Srila Prabhupada and the Vedic literatures, and this without feeling the need to obtain the official permission or sanctions from any local, regional, or national authority other than those given by state or central governments. In other words, the establishment and the legal governance of a village community is vastly different from the establishment and the legal governance of a temple.
So can you explain to your classmates what that means?
Oh, sure. So the gist of it is any group of or a community of people can just go together and start such community, and we do not need any legal authority from the government, legal permission from the government, and it has to be governed internally by the group. So whoever form that community, so they are responsible to maintain that order and keep the government.
Okay, very good, very good. Everybody clear? Any questions thus far? Okay. So more quotes on Varnashram. So whoever is available, I need a volunteer to read this. Okay, Sridhar Gopal, read.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:124 purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura, however, wanted to re-establish the Devi Varnashrama. It is this Devi Varnashrama that should be established all over the world to continue a perfect society for Krishna consciousness. This may be astonishing to foolish critics, but it is one of the functions of a Krishna conscious society. The Grihasth, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14.10, the Grihasthas, Vanaprasthas, Brahmacharis and Sannyasis should endeavor together with their total energy to become Krishna consciousness. This type of civilization is called Devi Varnashrama. One of the objectives of the Krishna consciousness movement is to establish this Devi Varnashrama, but not to encourage so-called Varnashrama without scientifically organized endeavor by human society. And lecture by Srila Prabhupada on January 22nd, 1977. So this Krishna conscious movement is trying to establish a Devi Varnashrama where Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, everyone, systematic, We are therefore proposing to start a college, Varnashrama college. It is proposed. We are trying so many things, but this is also one of the program that the people of the world, they should be educated according to the quality and work. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya and Shudra.
Yeah. So you see that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted it, Srila Prabhupada wanted it, and now our spiritual masters, everybody wants it. So we need to establish it, because our spiritual masters are also now finding a sense of urgency, because they will leave the planet very soon. Like Indraduna Maharaj, when he went to Chaupati, he made a lecture. He said, "We never thought Prabhupada would leave us. We always thought that he would be around us, and one day he was gone. Similarly, one day we will be gone, his disciples. So now the next generation should take this forward." So it is now, the baton is now being transferred over to us, and we have to take this forward. So not everything is easy. Weather is very difficult in Northwest. You need solid clothing and shoes. You should see Garuda, he has like strong shoes, because walking in this mushy weather, mushy earth is not easy. You have wetland, needs draining and suitable crops. Like one day we were discussing why water is not leaving the feet of the cows and going. Because when we established the farm, we didn't put slope. So water was standing wherever it rained. So we forgot that very key aspect, right? So there has to be some kind of slope built in. So this is where you use your civil engineering knowledge, right? Yes, you can use the civil engineering knowledge in service of your boss, but this is where you use that kind of knowledge. So we have civil engineers, mechanical engineers, we have all kinds of auditors, CPAs. So we should use our knowledge and intelligence in driving this kind of an agenda, right? And you have to pay taxes. It's not like, when I first came to America, people said, yeah, American farmers are spoiled, they don't pay taxes. But now I'm realizing they actually pay taxes. This government is not leaving them also. Everybody is paying taxes. Not on the crops, but on the property. So you still have to pay the 1% property tax. And zoning is the biggest headache. Like R10 is our property in Auburn, means only one building can come. So that is Garuda's building. And then somehow or the other, the previous owners took permission and they built a second house there, which is being used like for camping and things like that. That's it. So anybody else, you want to live, you have to build small cottages 10 feet by 20 feet. So 10 feet by 20 feet means literally the room that you are sitting in at your home right now, that will be your entire home. A lot of people are uncomfortable now. My entire home is the size of my living room. But that's the reality actually, because that is how the laws work here. India, on the other hand, like Nandagram, where Nartak Gauranga Prabhu and a few other people are doing the work there. There they bought this big tract of land and they have built houses one next to each other, because laws there are much simpler than laws in America. So, but that's the challenge. We have to come up to the challenge. So we may have to live in small houses if we move into this environment. But small is good actually. Like as I was saying, 2 homes removed from my home, these white American couples, they sold the home and they went to something like a small flat, 600 square foot flat, right? Why? Because they want to downsize. So we should also think along those lines. But our downsizing is for Daivi Varnashram, Krishna in the center, and like-minded individuals will be around us, and we can learn to cooperate. Because if you don't cooperate here, how are you going to cooperate in the spiritual world? So the moment you, the authorities decide that you don't have the capability to cooperate, they won't even let you in there. So better we learn all those techniques here and get rid of our ego, because we have no basketball-sized egos in our heart right now. So we have to kill all those egos, and this will be a very good way to kind of kill all those egos. But there are some advantages. Very little water. Your kid can choose to work in tech companies if they want to. It's a farm state. Sujana and Satish, they have good knowledge. We can learn. I mean, they are trained by Harulas Maharaj, so there are trainers here. Srila Prabhupada wanted them in every corner, not only in, Vada Farm or not only in Nandagram in Gujarat, but every town and village. That used to be the saying when Prabhupada was around. Prithiyache ata nagara gramadi sarvatra prachara hoibe moranam. So every town and village, these farms should be there. And Seattle is a community leader, right? Because most food distribution in North America happens in Seattle. So with this pedigree, we should be able to do big things. Any questions? Very tough, huh? Because we are not talking about FMM level 1. We are talking about FMM level 5. You remember the FMM? Anybody can do FMM 1. We are already doing it. We are doing 2 also. Garuda, the priest, is working there. We can even do 3. Like Madhav Chandra bought a home right next to Harulas Maharaj's farm. But they were not interdependent, right? They were neighbors, but not like working towards a common production. But we need to leapfrog that and come to DVAD 5, Daivi Varnashrama level 5. So that is where all our false egos will come into friction.
So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Ram Mukund.
Yeah.
So Prabhu, I have a question like similar to Nandagram, that is a kind of a role model for us to look at in India. So similar to that, do you have any example here in America, North America?
Actually, one of the American devotees of Srila Prabhupada said that Americans tend to change everything. So everything is modified, right?
Yeah.
So there is no pure DVAD level 5 here, but you can find level 3, level 4 in America. And I'll come to that. I have slides on that.
Yeah, Prabhu, I think just a comment, like I know there is a Amish community, I think.
Amish is level 5, right?
Yeah. They are
They will
like
speak very nicely to you, but in the evening, they'll cut their own vegetables, cook their own food and eat. They will never eat in a restaurant.
They kind of adapt new technology also.
Yeah.
Only
Actually, I think Rohini Priya Prabhu or Gauranga Prabhu in 2008 or 2009, they actually talked about Amish community at length. Right? Because that is, believe it or not, we are not the first on this planet. Amish are ahead of us actually. Right? If you do exactly what Amish are doing, they're already level 5. You'll be fantastic shape.
So just a thought, Prabhu, we have to learn from, like, of course, Sujana and Satish Prabhu is also here, but we have to learn from other examples, how they are doing it. And
yeah, there are a lot of these devotees have put videos on YouTube, and believe it or not, a lot of karmis have put videos on YouTube on how to grow anything from lettuce, tomatoes, everything is there. Because I've been doing, because of the COVID lockdown, right? Every day I'm watching 1 or 2 videos about how to grow food on internet. And there is vertical farming. I'll come to that also. Then there are different other models that are coming up.
And even we can start with from our backyard.
We already did that. Like, my wife started engaging me in backyard farming. So we put multi-layer. We are doing a little bit of vertical farming, 3 levels. Because my backyard is literally 15 feet by 15 feet. That's it. So what can I do? We have to go vertically now. Yeah. I mean, learning that skill is one thing, but for DVAD level 5, right? The challenge is our false ego. Can we cooperate? Like, do you like to see me every day morning when you wake up? Yeah, that is not easy.
Right.
Because you live together, right? You're waking up every morning. You're doing Mangalarti together. In the afternoon, you're doing Srimad Bhagavatam class together.
But then is it Prabhu part-time or full-time?
That's what I'm saying. I've come to an evolution model. I have a slide on that one also. Initially, it will be part-time, but gradually it will become full-time.
Okay, thank you, bro. Very good.
Okay, I need a volunteer to read this. Jaypal.
Yes, Prabhuji. 1 minute. Join through phone, so screen is too small. Okay. Srila Prabhupada envisioned children getting trained in Varnashrama college so that they could be engaged according to their propensity in Devi Varnashrama Dharma community. Communities will not endure unless they become intergenerational, 2 or 3 generations living simultaneously and form. Work where you live where you work. Additionally, such home-based industries are naturally friendlier to Mother Bhumi than modern industrialization is. All other purposes and advantages of living in Devi Varnashrama Dharma community are simply to facilitate this one, the attainment of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So key points here are intergenerational. It's not like I will go to the farm and my son will suffer in Boston working for some high-tech company. It should be intergenerational. All family members should be there. Like in Nandagram, you have parents, devotees parents, and devotees kids, everybody living together. How we lived like 50, 80 years ago in India. Right? So this is about breaking the pattern, right? The modern pattern is pretty much you leave your parents and you come to America. And now, like as we are seeing with Vidyasagar's son, he got an excellent job in Dell. So he lives on his own. Now, Vidyasagar is feeling the empty nest, right? So we don't want that empty nest syndrome. All generations, 3 generations living together. And you work where you live. Means whatever you do it on the farm. If you are like an excellent artist, like I know in Russia, one gentleman is an excellent artist. He produces paintings and he sells them at a very high price. Very high price. Like each one of his painting is like $2,000, $3,000 like that. In Russia, that's a lot of money in rubles if you convert it. And then in Russia, when I was there in Moscow, 4:30 in the morning, all these devotees come together and do Mangalarti together. You know why? Because Russia is a poor country. Whenever there is too much wealth like in America, we become very lazy. India also, like when I went to the Pune temple, 4:30, 200 brahmacharis in the hall. The hall was full, packed, jam-packed for Mangalarti. It took me like a while to wade through the people to just get to the front to take darshan. Yeah, so we have to, I mean, others are able to do it. Why can't we do it, right? We just have to get rid of our false ego and just do it. Okay, thank you, Jaypal. So how is this legally structured? Our temple is a 501c3, but that is not suited for a Varnashram community. So a lot of people like Srila Prabhupada disciple, his name is Amarendra Prabhu, I think, and Danakeli Mataji. They have done a lot of research. These are Srila Prabhupada's disciples on what is the right structure for this. So 501D, not C3. Our temple is C3, but this is D. So community must have religious teaching and tenets, and it will live communally with a common treasury. Means there won't be a concept of like, I grow wheat and you, produce milk, but milk is more expensive, therefore you are richer than me. No, the produce will go into a common treasury when we sell it. If we sell it, right? Maybe you don't sell it. Communal living means entities, properties, and assets are owned in the community, not by private persons. Members do not have to contribute all of their assets. You can still have your private property, but as long as you are there in the community, you will abide by community's rules and regulations. So you can have separate. You can have some, savings in an online bank, for example. And you can. It's not like you have to live in poverty. No, you can live in luxury if the treasury permits. If you are producing so much grain that you are selling, then you can live in nice luxury according to US government, right? It is your business. Like Amish, I don't think they are living in poverty. They have beautiful houses. Some members may have some outside income for extras, as long as acquiring that does not interfere with their full-time service. So it's not like you'll work for 2 hours on the farm and 8 hours you work outside. No, it should be 8 hours for the farm and 2 hours you work outside. If you want to, but you may not want to also, because you'll be so blissful living in the community of Sangha of Vaishnavas. Right? Mangalarti together, Noon Arti together, Sandhya Arti together, Srimad Bhagavatam together. So how fast can you progress? Think about it. This entity is not taxed on income, but it is like a corporation, right? Everybody gets a dividend. Then you pay dividend. On the dividend, you pay taxes. So you have to declare it on the annual tax return. Members don't receive salaries, stipends, or compensations. If there is profit, that becomes dividend or gets reinvested. Donations are not tax deductible. So if you want to raise donations, then we have to have a parallel 501c3 corporation. A loan may be taken from the 501c3 and then you have to repay it. So there is clear distinction between a non-profit and a religious intentional community. This goes into a little bit more details. I won't go into too much of this, but basically this should facilitate your Krishna consciousness. That's the idea. This is more about how the bylaws are written. That is technicality once we decide to form a community like this. Okay, so I need a volunteer to read this. By the way, should we stop now and do it tomorrow, or what is the consensus here? Because already we are out of time.
Maybe tomorrow, Prabhuji.
We'll do tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
But tomorrow we have Harulas Maharaj's Srimad Bhagavatam class at 7:40 or 7:45. So should we start?
Can we start early? Maybe 6:15, 6:30, or maybe 6.
Yeah, I mean, I can start 6:30, but I want to hear from others.
Yes, 6:30 is fine.
Early works, Prabhu.
6:30? Okay, let's do 6:30 then. Okay, thanks everyone for coming. Srila Prabhupada.